In the American Civil War, we often think about the rifle musket as being one of the predominant arms of the conflict. But in reality, especially in the early years, smoothbore arms were the norm, and they were very common to see. And here at the North-South Skirmish Association, they honor the history of the smoothbore arms used during the American Civil War in their smoothbore skirmish.
Ceasefire.
Well, the North-South Skirmish Association is America's oldest and largest Civil War period shooting sports organization in the country. We were incorporated in 1950, and we have just about 3,000 members in our 200-member teams, or units as we would call them. We wear reasonably authentic uniforms, which are mandatory in our team competitions. But where we're real sticklers is the firearms. Well, reenactors are perhaps more concerned with uniforms and equipage. For us, it's the firearms.
The first thing to understand is during the Civil War, the smoothbore was used with buck and ball ammunition, which was 3.30 caliber small round balls and a 64 caliber round ball, okay? Well, for skirmishing purposes, we really couldn't load 4 projectiles and put paper cartridges down the board. So we used one basically 69 caliber round ball backed by usually anywhere from 50 to some people use 80 grains of black powder. The targets we shoot, the ranges are 25 and 50 yards, using our standard clay birds, for example, at 25 and 6-inch tiles at 50 yards. And one thing we found is that over the years they have become very, very accurate. I think that's one thing that we can say, and skirmishers have developed a correct ball-to-bore fit and powder load fit, and the secret lube recipes they have fit. And if you guys shoot some smoothbore matches, you'll see tomorrow just how quick the targets disappear.
Fort Shenandoah is really composed of arguably the longest single firing line in the country.
Load and come to the ready.
We shoot nothing but live fire matches that are timed, and all the targets are breakable. So when you hit something, it usually explodes, fractured. When you've got an 8-person team shooting muskets or carbines and pieces are flying all over the place, if you like to break stuff, this is the sport for you.
A great example of an arm would be the Model 1842 Smoothbore, which was the first U.S. production arm with interchangeable parts. It was made at the Springfield Armory and the Harpers Ferry Armory, and the parts could interchange. It's also the last U.S. smoothbore, and it was also the first percussion arm. They used a percussion cap and wasn't a flintlock ignition. So you'll see a lot of these on the line. Very historical arm, started production 1844, ended production 1855, about 270,000 of them made, basically.
Well, there's a lot of people here that know a lot about the Civil War, and there's always something to learn here. It's really a wonderful place to come to get to see everything. And what's really interesting is when you're here for some of these competitions, you can hear about 100 teams going and all firing at the same time, and it sounds just like the war, just like a real skirmish line.
The smoothbore musket match. Now those teams are only 4 persons. And again, you load and fire as accurately as you possibly can, because you got to break the targets, and there's a man standing behind you with a stopwatch. And when the tower blows the horn, the match starts, and you're on the clock. So the enemy is the clock, really. And you're trying to break, again, a board filled with clay pigeons, ceramic tiles, these horrible little clay pots. And then you move back to a farther distance of 50 yards to break 6 by 6 inch tiles. So that's a smoothbore match. 4 persons, on the clock and for events.
At the North-South Skirmish Association, the smoothbore match is one of the most incredible experiences here at Fort Shenandoah. You're standing on this massive firing line, which is one of the longest in not only the country, but in the world. And you see all of these men and women step up to the lines with original smoothbore guns that could have seen service during the American Civil War. And here, they're still seeing service as they hurl lead downrange, as everyone battles for the top spots in the competition.
It is really, really a challenge because obviously you're shooting a smooth bore, a lot different than a rifled anything.
There's a wide variety of arms, foreign and domestic, that can be used. There is a 1822 smoothbore, percussion conversion. There's a whole variety of arms, and you'll see them on the line that can be used in smoothbore match.
Everything from 72 caliber imported Potsdams to a very unique variant of the model 1842, which is what I'm holding in my hand. This is affectionately called a Macon conversion. Now, this started its life as a full-length model 1842 smoothbore musket. Well, during the Peninsular Campaign in 1862, the Union Army, in its withdrawal, left a lot of 42s, which were very common at that time of the war, left them on the battlefield. So the Confederates picked up all the ones that they could possibly find. Some were in perfect condition, some had other difficulties, but the ones that had muzzle damage were sent specifically to the Macon, Georgia arsenal, and that's where they shortened them. And so you'll find 3 different variants of length of this, 36, 34, and 30 inches, depending on where they could cut the barrel down, reshape the stock, and remount the front barrel band. And so that is the famous Macon conversion. Why do I like it? Well, I'm 6'3", and so it's real easy to load real quick.
All firing will start and stop on the sound of the horn.
Preserving our history is important. The correct and proper recreational use of firearms is important. I mean, there's so much negative publicity about firearms now. And tying the two together, I mean, you know, I would love to get all the kids off of their iPhones and away from their TVs and let them get out and shoot, you know, the way we did in the 1950s and 60s.
Our theme line, if you will, is history, camaraderie, and competition. And obviously, as you see around here, this just reeks of history. And there couldn't be a better place than Winchester, Virginia, which reputedly changed hands 72 times during the war. So what better place to have 640 acres filled with just period fun for all of us who are really enthusiasts about what we do.